This is perhaps the most asked question in human existence. What's the meaning of life? It's on everybody's lips and everybody's minds and everybody's hearts. Eventually you get to a point in your life you think, what is this all about? What's the meaning of life? And for me, it's been a series of events that led up to that question. I think that's probably most people's story. You need some things to happen in your life before you get contemplative, or you start thinking about really what's this all about and where do I fit in and what's my purpose? So for me, it kind of found me one day in a very unusual way. I'm a golfer. I love to golf. And one day I was on the golf course and completely frustrated with golf and about ready to give it up. I literally threw my clubs down. Was throwing clubs all day. I probably threw every club in the bag, but just frustrated, ready to give up the game. And I decided to just chill for a second. For some reason, something happened to me. It was very metaphysical. My brain kind of fried almost. I just relaxed out of the anger and out of the stress and the frustration. I kind of peaced out. And I saw myself, it sounds crazy, stay with me. I found myself hovering above the planet. My eyes were open. I saw my higher self, I learned later, looking at my lower self on the course there at number 15 at Santa Barbara Muni. That's the actual hole I was on. And it was a par 4, and I was about 74 yards out. And I imagined my higher self, or myself above the earth, seeing myself on the ground, hitting this ball into the hole from 74 yards. It landed 6 feet from the pin and it went in. And I remember seeing this from up above the earth thinking, this is crazy. I'm hallucinating. I wasn't drinking. I was just playing golf, frustrated, ready to give it up. This game I've been playing for 20 years at the time. And then I decided, you know what? I shook myself off and I said, that was weird, but I'm gonna use it. So I took a breath. I imagined that I actually picked up the club, hit the ball. It landed 6 feet short from the pin and went in. I imagined that. Then I picked up the club and I did just that. I literally hit the ball in the hole from 74 yards for an eagle. And I threw the club up in the air. You would have think there was a huge applause and grandstands were looking at me and screaming. I held my hat up in the air like I just won like the Masters. So it was huge. It was a shift in my life. And that was about 6 years ago that happened to me. And I felt like it was a calling. It was an experience that I was supposed to have to shift my life. And from that one experience, my life changed. I kind of walked the next few holes on cloud 9. I didn't even think of the golf I was playing. I didn't even focus. I just kind of hit the ball and I don't even know what I scored that day. I sat in the parking lot for an hour and was just thinking about what was this about? What does this mean? This isn't just a golf experience. This is a life experience. This happened to me. Something shifted in me. So a couple days later, I'm in real estate. I'm a property manager and I'm clearing out a unit, a 1-bedroom condo that was full of books. I mean, there was shelves, maybe hundreds of books in this unit. They were all silverfish eaten. There were dog-eared pages. The books were all dusty, and I had to get this place ready for someone to rent it. I had to clear it out. And I didn't have time, God forgive me. I took about 300 books and put them in these blue recycling bins, and I pushed them down the hall. And I put them in the big, recycling section of the complex. And I didn't donate them to a library, which I should have, because books are so important for life and so important for people. But I was in a rush and I made a bad decision. But maybe not so much as if this doesn't happen the way it happened, it wouldn't have given me an experience that changed my life. So I pushed the blue bins in, I shut the door behind me, I take a few steps out, and I hear something hit the ground. A book had fallen out of these big blue recycling bins. And as I slowly opened the door and I looked down, I saw this book. It was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle staring me in the face. And I thought, that's weird. Hundreds of books in these bins and this one falls out after I shut the door. And it called me back and I thought, that's weird. I've heard of this book before. And I read the book. It took me 6 times to get to the book to really understand what the author, Eckhart Tolle, was speaking of. But then it hit me. My golf experience, the holding the ball out, seeing my higher self. Eckhart taught me about my higher self, and my lower self was on the planet. Standing on the planet, my higher self was above the planet. And it taught me about the now and how powerful the now is in your life. And how really, to me, that's the meaning of life, is this moment now, the present moment awareness that I gained from that experience shaped my life. It changed my life. It was the epiphany, or as they call it in the Zen tradition, a satori. It was a flash of enlightenment, a brilliant opportunity for me to change my life and to focus on something new. And that's what I did. I started reading books that were steeped in the now and reading spiritual texts that were focused on yourself and the power that you have to change your stars through your consciousness, through your focus, through your present moment awareness. And from that journey, it led me into writing a book, and a book that I've written called The Now-ist. It piggybacks on a lot of what Eckhart Tolle teaches, and a lot of great teachers like Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, Neville Goddard, these brilliant teachers speaking about your imagination and your present moment, your now, and using those two coupled together to bring into your life what you ultimately desire, what you want. And that's what my passion is. That's my purpose. That's my ultimate calling in life, is to focus on that and to write about it, to teach about it. And that's what I'm doing here. I want to give you some inspiration, some spiritual information to chew on, to think about, and to maybe look at your life differently, and maybe to focus on something that's not what's in your daily life. Because the now is always in the room. Your daily life happens around, your schedule happens, your work, your family, your aspirations, they're all gonna happen to you. But the present moment is always available, and you can always have more power in that moment if you focus and you feel yourself in that moment fully, and you're rich in your feelings, and you're rich in what you care about, and you live in that moment with nothing but abandon and full-hearted forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of other people, and just live in that moment. Because what I find is that the signs, the spiritual breadcrumbs that have shown up in my life have led me to that moment on the golf course. It seems strange, it seems unusual, but life is unusual. Life is unpredictable. Life is a journey, it's an adventure. Most people say that, but I live it, I believe it, I breathe it. And when these experiences show up in my life, I don't question them. I realize there's a power in there, there's a synchronicity about it. Carl Jung coined that phrase years ago. Synchronicity is one of my favorite words in the world. It talks about these unusual happenstances or coincidences as they show up in people's life, and they think they have no meaning, they're just random, but I know they all have meaning. There are no accidents, there are no coincidences. Everything has meaning, everything has purpose. And for me, I follow those spiritual breadcrumbs through my life, and I trace them, and I get the message that they have for me, and I learn from them. And I want to share that knowledge that I've learned with you and with the world, and be of service to people and to souls and to like-minded people, help them gain experience in their life that's going to change their life for the better, and to make a decision that's different than the one you made yesterday. You can keep stacking better experiences on better experiences, and they will build your life, and you'll sculpt your soul into what you want to be instead of what life is showing up. And you just kind of let the inertia and the momentum of life take you, dragging you along the current of life without any awareness. Awareness in the present moment is the key. You know, it's been said that people have had these near-death experiences, and I've read a lot of stories about near-death experience, and it always blows me away. Majority of them come back with a theme or a message that they feel like they were given from the other side to bring back to them, to this planet. A near-death experience happens, and most people come back and they see the light, they see their loved ones, they see all these things on the other side. But Anita Moorjani wrote a book called Dying to Be Me that really gave me a powerful look into the other side. And she said when she came back that everything happens on the other side now. There is no time, there's no linear time, there's no past and future. She could see her cancer-ridden body. She had 4 tumors the size of lemons in her body, and she should have died. She could see her body healed all in a moment. She could see from the other side, where she was residing in her near-death experience, that everything was healed. She could see herself going back in her body and her being healed. Everything was back to normal, and she was thriving and helping people and being of service. And what she brought back really changed my life, because she says on the other side, there's no time. There's always now. There's only now. And then when she came back into her body, she says, you just have to realize that you're perfect. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. You know, you just need to love yourself, forgive yourself, be more fully invested in the present moment. And to me, that just confirmed everything I believe in, and everything I focus and aspire to be, and to help people and serve people is bring more of my focus and attention and power, personal power, to the present moment. And I learned that through these people that have passed over to the other side. And to me, I think it was a sign, it was a clue that's all around us. If we just pay attention, if we look for other people's inspiration, we look for other people's experiences and glean the information from them, and let it hit us in the heart instead of in the mind, because the thinking mind usually takes us out of those experiences that we have that show up in our life, because we overthink them, we ruminate on them, we cogitate on them, we analyze them, and it gets to be total distraction to what really was in that message or that moment in our life for us. It showed up exactly when it was supposed to show up, but it was for you. It was an experience you attracted, something you needed to learn. That's why it's there. And the present moment to me is the secret to life. The meaning of life is living your present moments with much greater focus, attention, awareness, and knowing that in that moment, like it is in heaven, everything is happening right now. And when you connect to that moment with more joy and passion and love and peace, you will attract more things into your life that will serve you and take you where you're supposed to go. You follow these spiritual breadcrumbs to your ultimate destiny. And when you realize they're in the room with you now always, or in nature with you always, or always around in your family, in the laughs and the smiles, in the trials, in the tribulations, in the tough times, they're there. Focus on what you want in that moment. Imagine what you want. Feel it deeply in your soul and connect to it, and you will attract it.